Now that we are all gathered here, let the meeting finally come to order. Wait, this is a meeting? Listen, this was gonna be a party.
A necessary deception. You wouldn't have come otherwise.
You are a liar.
If fate decides, so it must be.
Can we please focus on the task at hand?
Couldn't you have just sent an email? Is this meeting really that necessary?
Yes, it is. We are here to reconcile the differences in our ideologies.
Or we could just show them which is better.
We can play poker.
What? No!
If fate decides, so it must be.
Must fate decide everything for you?
As long as fate had you bring some money.
We will not waste our time with pointless frivolities.
All in.
Are these cards marked?
Of course they are. What else would you expect from Black?
If fate decides, so it must be.
Don't side with them.
I got a king and an ace. I win.
No, that's blackjack.
Your name is Jack? Hello? Hello?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Gentleman Jex, and today we're going to be talking about one of the ideologies of one of my favorite trading card games ever, Magic the Gathering. Started in 1993 by Richard Garfield, Magic the Gathering is the oldest trading card game that is still actively played today. With over 35 million players worldwide, this fantasy card game has gone on to include comics, merchandise, and even conventions. Magic the Gathering has even announced an upcoming animated television series and has had a live-action movie deal with Netflix. But did you know that Magic the Gathering's central gameplay mechanic, its colors, are revolved around ideological debates? These include, but are not limited to, order versus chaos, progress versus tradition, community versus individualism, among many others. And from the very beginning of Magic, each card is designed with these ideas in mind. This is known as the color wheel, with each color representing a different piece of the ideological spectrum. But today, we're going to be talking about white, which is at the very top of the color wheel, if that wasn't obvious by the title of this video. So let's begin. White's initial ideology in Magic the Gathering was greatly influenced by the Western idea of the color white within society, with things like heroism and protection and divinity being linked to the color. And as the game continued, White's ideological framework expanded to include things like justice and unity. This ideological framework can be summed up by Magic the Gathering's head designer, Mark Rosewater, in 2014, when he said, quote, "Peace through structure." Rosewater would in turn actually clarify his stance in 2015, when in the article, The Great White Way Revisited, he stated, and I quote, "Suffering is a byproduct of individuals not prioritizing the good of the group. White wants to create a world where there is no unnecessary suffering, a world where life is as good as it can be for each individual." I do have to say, Mark Rosewater, you are a tremendous writer, and you've written many great articles on Magic the Gathering's color ideologies. But I have to say, buddy, you gotta work on those titles. The Great White Way sounds problematic in any other context. Anyways, White sees peace as preventing unnecessary suffering and maximizing happiness for as many people as possible. This is actually very resonant of the ethical theory of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is simply defined as the greatest amount of good for the greatest quantity of people. One thing to keep in mind is that in utilitarianism, no one else's happiness is put higher than anyone else's. No exceptions, period. But for White, it's more than just making the maximum number of people happy. With its historic connection to the Western ideas of the divine, every action has a moral center, a right and a wrong. An example of White's ideology in play is within the show The Good Place, in which Michael sums it up very sufficiently, actually, when visiting the university's accounting department.
So, they now examine the action, its use of resources, the intentions behind it, its effects on others.
Correct.
Unlike true utilitarianism, which is only concerned about the consequence of an action, White's ideology is actually also concerned about the intention of that action as well. After all, if somebody saves orphans with the intention of feeding them to a demon, how good can they really be? This leads us into White's first tool of their structural toolbox: moral law. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Jex, you're probably talking about religion, right? Well, yes and no. Religion certainly is a major influence on how people perceive moral law, and while White certainly does have influences that lean that way, not all of those influences are simply centered around religious beliefs. Codes, promises, oaths, and societal norms are all wrapped together and encompassed together in this idea of moral law. Take Din Djarin, for example, known as Mando from The Mandalorian. Mando does follow the Mandalorian creed, and part of that creed includes caring for foundlings, it includes returning the favor, and of course, never letting anyone see him without his helmet on. This creed serves as Mando's moral law, if you will. Despite not having any overseers or any other person watching and verifying his actions, Mando follows his creed, even though it might lead to his death.
No living thing has seen me without my helmet since I swore the creed.
Now, what if someone else's moral code collides with your own?
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
This is where what is called collective voice comes into play. Despite popular culture depicting many kingdoms as shining beacons of morality and unity and strength, such as the League of Legends Demacia, White doesn't exactly operate the same way. You see, White, instead of submitting to a single rule, they submit to the voice of many. These are kind of more of a green kind of thing anyways. White rules by democratic institutions, and we see this represented in many governments today. Voting for a representative, a president, or even a law are all actions that fall under White's ideology. When there is a moral question, White will always side with the majority. The voting process isn't always as exciting as, say, a movie would be, such as V for Vendetta, where everyone starts standing up, or The Power of Friendship.
The spark ignited inside me when I realized that you all are my friends.
Yep, alright. Anyways, to accurately collect and enforce these group decisions, White's final tool we are going to be talking about today is called civil law. Civil law is the backbone of White's structure strategy. From public servants.
Although I've not worked with you professionally, as a private citizen, I have personally patronized each and every one of your establishments.
I've never seen you buy a salad at Sue's Salad.
It's because I don't hate myself, Tanya. I'm sorry. I know I should be chasing your vote, but I stand behind my decision to avoid salad and other disgusting things. And I think I have a lot of support in the community for that.
To lawyers and courts.
Did she tell you that? How would you feel if your father married someone who was your age?
You, however, had time to hide the gun, didn't you, Chutney? After you shot your father.
To the enforcers of the law.
Renounce your wild ways and join the Emperor's Coven. He can help heal your curse.
Don't believe everything that Bonehead tells you. He doesn't want to heal me, he wants to control me.
Then I will take you in by force.
This allows us to enjoy things like public roads, national parks, and the relative trust that we are not going to be sold by companies as defective merchandise. But that doesn't mean that White's ideology is without its flaws. I mean, with the civil law, we all know what the DMV is like.
gotta beat the rush hour in. It's night.
And if you've ever gone to a public institution, yeah, you get those kinds of people.
I found a sandwich in one of your parks, and I want to know why it didn't have mayonnaise. What's so funny?
Oh.
But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below what you think about White's ideology. Also, you could smash that like and the subscribe button. Also, if you subscribe, I'll be giving 10 cents away to charity for every subscription, to Child's Play. You could check out more info on my channel. I'm just saying, it's a pretty good deal. Now, also, tell me if you guys want more Magic the Gathering videos and maybe more analysis on the other colors in the Magic the Gathering series. Let me know. I've been Gentleman Jax, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye!